Hey there, thanks for checking out this interview with Night Nurse director Georgia Bernstein. Just wanted to pop on real quick at the start to say that there is some very, not really, but kind of spoilery stuff that's talked about at the very end of this video, around the 18-minute, 30-second mark, somewhere in there. We'll have another thing pop up on the screen to remind you of that, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that at the very end, there are some slight spoilers for Night Nurse. Enjoy the conversation. Hi, Georgia. How's it going today?
Good. How are you, Andrew?
Pretty good, pretty good. Great to talk to you. This is a film that I've wanted to talk to someone about since Sundance, so it's great to finally get a chance to chat with you
Amazing.
about this.
Were you there? So you were at Sundance.
I was doing things virtually
Oh,
for
cool.
for the festival, so I was stuck in Toronto, but yeah, I wasn't
Amazing.
actually there. So, but yeah, I've seen a few interviews that you've given on this, and I'm in Toronto, and so obviously the Egoyan and Cronenberg really comes through. But I was always happy to see you bring up In the Cut, which was the film that I got immediate vibes on Night Nurse from.
Oh,
So
good. Yes, I don't get to talk about In the Cut enough. I'm so glad you brought that up.
I will go to bat every day of the week for In the Cut. That movie is
I
amazing.
know. She needs to make another movie like In the Cut, like that.
Yeah.
She needs to return to the erotic thriller.
Yeah, and I feel like Night Nurse was the first time I got that feeling from a movie since In the Cut, really, where I just felt like it was really just an intelligent take on this sort of thriller.
That is literally so kind. Of course I'm so honored to be even like, c considered in the same breath as Jane Campion, she's the queen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean I feel like this is something I've been talking about a little bit, but that I like to talk about. Um and I want to keep talking about is this idea of like how do you make an erotic thriller today? Um and I do think like the Night Nurse is referencing a lot of, 90s erotic thrillers. Like I think I'm definitely like really inspired too by just like for Crash and Adam Egoyan's Exotica. I'm just like I think they're just like masters of pacing. Like I think both of those films are just like so beautifully paced and I've watched each of them like so many times, especially like when we were editing. I think my editor and I were just like we were just like obsessed with that pacing. And I do think that In the Cut is sort of like in conversation with those films in terms of just like the feeling that it has. Um, but yeah, I wonder what Jane Campion would do if she were like doing an erotic thriller today.
It isn't right. I should be taking care of you.
But I'm the nurse.
It's been a challenge finding the right match for this patient.
What's his condition?
Possibly early onset Alzheimer's. We're still ruling things out.
And where are we right now? Do you know where you are?
He's just a bored old man.
What do you do for fun?
I don't do anything.
You're telling me you don't have any fun?
It feels good to mean something to somebody.
I'm gonna make a call. It's business.
What business?
Repeat after me.
They say I might have to go to jail.
Please, Grandpa. They want money.
The callers target men over the age of 65, and they've taken $250,000.
Grandpa.
And I feel like there is like an alternate universe version of Night Nurse that like was made in the 90s but would probably you have that like indecent proposal thing pop into your head where Douglas is like this silver fox played by like a Robert Redford type and it's a very different movie and it is not the same movie.
Yeah. And it's funny, people don't say this enough, but because it is really intentionally like I wanted him to be like a very complex character. Like I didn't want it to just sort of be like, oh, he's just like the obvious like silver fox, as you said. Um, he definitely is kind of like, and this is probably me bringing in my like influence, my Catherine Breillat influences, like, and like wanting this like older man to be like sort of like despicable, but also like you're drawn to him and you don't know why, and it's like I wanted it to feel complicated for sure.
Yeah, and let's talk about that character because that was something that I really wanted to discuss because he has this really interesting kind of cult of personality around him. And kind of like what you said, he has to be charismatic, but he also has to have this element of danger to him. And yet he's able to bring like all of these women like into his inner circle. And I was wondering if there was any sort of like cult-like mentality that you were thinking about when you were coming up with the character of Douglas.
Oh, you're so spot on. You really get the film, I must say. Um, I definitely like I wanted it to feel very culty. Like I'm really interested in cults um and I so his character, that's part of I think some people, they watch the film and they're just like, wow, like how did all these women like fall under his spell? And I that was definitely like my intention. I wanted it to feel like sort of like when you watch a cult documentary and you're like, why did all these people like this guy? Like, huh? Like there's like this like magical like pull, and I that's why I always wanted Eleni from the very first time we see her. She's like pulled toward Douglas in the pool, and it's sort of like unexplained. Like she's just like staring at him, and she has this like magical draw to him. And I do think that that is like you know, it's like cinematic, but also I do think that is what it feels like to fall into like a toxic relationship. Even like I think a toxic relationship can sometimes look a lot like, like a cult.
Where are you trying to take me?
I'm not trying to take you anywhere. We're just having a conversation.
I.
Please, sit still.
You,
Michelle, would you take his vitals?
is that the doctor?
When did these symptoms begin?
Pretty much since I started.
Mr. Callum, do you know where you are?
I know where I am.
Oh, good. Where are you?
My mom is supposed to pick me up in a little while. Does she know where I am?
Yes, she knows.
She knows where I am.
Oxide normal, BP high.
Okay, call the paramedics, would you?
Do you have a cigarette?
No, I don't.
Have you seen my cigarettes?
I haven't, but I'm sure they're fine. We need to transfer Mr. Callum to assisted living.
The big house?
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's really lovely there.
Big.
Mr. Callum.
Where are my cigarettes?
Mr. Callum.
Where are...
Douglas, stop that right now.
Mr. Callum.
It's interesting that you are working with someone that you've known for such a long time with Cemre, and how she slots into this world so much. And you wrote it with her in mind, but at what point did you start discussing with her how Eleni's mind works? And what was the back and forth with her as part of this collaborative process?
I wrote it for her and I did I would send her scripts in progress, and Jemry would say to me like I would say like give me feedback, and she would give me feedback on like story structure, general stuff, but also like specifically for her character she would almost never give me like notes on her character, her like dialogue, but she was so like invested in just like the film itself. So, and I think we just like had such an understanding of like taste and tone. But she's really like the kind of actress that like she would never say she can't she's not I like to say she's like a Fassbinder actress. Like um she's not someone who like needs it to feel slice of life to make it feel authentic. Like she can like kind of like she can lock in, and like camera can be like this close to her face or like over here, and like she can do like weird blocking, and like she's just like a special performer in that way. Like she can like a Fassbinder movie, and we would often reference like Fassbinder for like blocking. Um she can play and be like pretty adventurous with like where she's looking. Like she doesn't have to look the other actor in the eye to like feel like she's in the scene, which is like amazing. Like not many, that's really, really hard. So,
And I mean,
um,
it works because there is a voyeuristic element to her character where she really shouldn't be making eye contact with anybody. It would feel weird if she was.
yeah, you're right that it is sort of like integral to the story as well that she be like crawling on the floor and not looking at anyone.
And one of the characters in the film that I find so fascinating is the character of Mona, who really not only does she have to show Eleni kind of the lay of the land, but I feel like in a way she is really the person that introduces the viewer to Douglas and to this world. And I was wondering what the construction of that character was like, and when it was decided to have a character that could sort of like usher the audience and the protagonist into the story at the same time.
Yeah, I she was always part of the script, Mona, and I actually wrote that part for Eléonore, who I was just like such a fan of. And I didn't know her, but I felt like I we had mutual friends and I felt like I could get to her. So I was like, I'm writing it for her and like I'm gonna like manifest this. And she like truly miracle. She like read the script and like liked it and told me like she always wanted to be a nurse and like it was like it was fate. And then um the reason why I bring her up specifically, Eleanor, is because I wrote it for her because she is like this really incredibly special person. And um even though I didn't know her, I felt like she like just oozed just she's the perfect combination of intimidating but really really warm. And it's so rare and I felt like I didn't want this character to be like cool older girl. I wanted it to be like really welcoming and nurturing. And I just like couldn't think of anyone who like represented that more than Eleanor.
Yeah. I've loved hearing the story of how Night Nurse came together out of like this confluence of things that happened in your life with your grandmother getting involved with a scam like this, and you see this billboard about caregiving and you going through a relationship, and now looking back on everything that you went through in the course of making Night Nurse, is it interesting to you to look back on it now and look at those series of events and how they all inform this one film?
Absolutely, yes. And in fact, I spend a lot of time with my sister psychoanalyzing the film, which is sort of like my favorite thing to do. And with my therapist, we all sort of enjoy psychoanalyzing the film. But like, you know, one thing that's very like Jungian about the film is that like, you know, to Jung, you when you dream, you're every character in the dream. And in Night Nurse, every character wants the same thing. They all desire to take care and be cared for. And so like I think that that is partly why the film has this like kind of dreamlike quality. Um and um where every character can be kind of like seen as like a part of the same psyche. Um you can see I've really been thinking about this.
I mean, I don't think you would have made the film if you hadn't thought about any of this.
And so, and this is the first time I've had the opportunity to say this, so I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. But yes, I do think that I do think like my subconscious is like a very much a part of this film, and has made it very enjoyable to finish. Enjoyable and torturous, of course.
Yeah. I think there's something also interesting when you're making sort of an erotic thriller like this. I think a lot of first-time filmmakers don't really put a lot of thought into movement. And I'm not talking about like in the fact that you're doing an erotic film and it's like the sense of touch. I'm like, no, there's like genuine movement in this film that feels very thought out. Like a scene that really sticks in my mind is when Eleni's kind of like almost in like a downward dog position on a couch, and then Douglas just kind of comes in over the top of her, and they do the call right there. And I was like, that is a spectacular like bit of movement for a
Thank
film
you.
like this. And I was just wondering what it was like to sort of come up with these scenes that have this kind of dreamlike movement to them, but it's so intentional. It's not like completely like nonsense dream logic. It's like very intentional movement.
Thank you. That's really, really kind. And we really worked very hard for that to be part of the film. I think that comes from just that, like, we made an indie movie, but I didn't want it to feel small. And I wanted it to, like, we shot almost the entire film on a dolly. Um, I wanted it to have, like, that, sometimes we have, like, loud camera movement where, like, we're zooming. And then other times, like, it's meant to be sort of almost, like you don't notice it. Um, and then, and I think oftentimes we would try to like have like a move per scene where like either like how we get into it or how we leave the scene. Um, and it was like important to me that, going back to the blocking, like the Fassbender blocking, obviously like his films, he was really lucky that they had like the tools that they had, and like the special situations of the circumstance of which he like was able to make those films. Um, so I was like trying to like reverse engineer that in like an indie way. Um, and yeah, yeah, every scene was just like super, very specifically blocked. Um, and we would have like moves that we absolutely like had to hit, and I think like I was just lucky that my actors like were really down to like I just think like it worked with their style of acting that like we could I think sometimes like that's just like that's not how you're going to get the best performance and then like that would we would have like shifted. But I think it was just like a nice um combination of elements that just like worked really nicely together, I guess.
Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to bring up with you, and this is kind of like a weirdly deep question, but there was something that I was always thinking about throughout the film, which is kind of how, like, there's a difference between being numb to life and being numb to, like, morality. And I think this film really kind of speaks to both of those things and how they can be different. Like, I think there are some characters in here that have kind of become numb to life and others that have become numb to morality. And I was wondering what it was like trying to create this world where these two things are gonna like overlap and interweave.
Uh, um, that's a cool question. Um, I like that you say numb to life because I feel like that feels like almost like also super contemporary. I feel that well like the numb to morality, I think that's just like part of the story. Is that like once the characters are set in motion, like we have to see it through and um without I guess I don't know if I'm supposed to say spoilers or not, but um
Well,
the
since this is the last question, I can always put up a spoiler warning and say like, don't watch the last like minute and a half of this interview.
I guess I think like the idea for like Eleni's arc was that she um like there were two choices I think her character could make. One is that she becomes disillusioned with Douglas in the world and leaves and is like, this is not this that's not a movie. That's kind of boring.
Yeah.
And the second one is that she like essentially like becomes the cult. Um, and so um I don't know if I would say she's like numb to morality or just like so deep in. I don't know if numb and morality that one works as well for in my mind, but I love the other phrase you used, numb. What was it?
Life.
Numb to life.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for all of this. This was great.
Thank
Really
you. This
appreciate
was
your
such
time today.
a wonderful interview. Thank you, Andrew, for your question.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Like what you just saw? Why don't you check out one of these other videos? Like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest that we have going on. And until next time, have a great day.